Welcome back to Definitely Not Definitive. I'm Ken.
And I'm Bethany.
And we're just a giddy couple in love. Love checking out some Genshin Impact.
Giddy for Genshin.
Yeah, this is the character Miscellany reaction continuing on Triple Trailer Tuesday, people. Woohoo. So we got three. We got Eula, Kamisato, and Kaedehara. Pronounce all their names as normal. And if you want all of our Genshin Impact reactions, check out the description of this video. We got a playlist there for you. And we also have a link to our Patreon and get early ad-free access.
Yeah.
We have a lot of Genshin Impact reactions as we're doing all these character miscellany reactions. And that's because we have a special drink.
Yeah, we do. Arguably one of my favorites, possibly, because it's got Pop Rocks. It's the Clee Sparkling Bomb.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yes. My mouth is popping. It's awesome.
Ever since the first night of Favonius rid herself of her chains, the winds of freedom have carried the fight against oppression into every corner of Mondstadt. Yet today, among the ranks of the knights sworn to champion freedom, there walks a descendant of the former tyrannical aristocracy. Eula, the progeny of an infamous lineage with vengeance always on her lips, is the captain of the Knights of Favonius Reconnaissance Company. The Spindrift Knight, supremely skilled with her blade.
This seems like someone you're all
Her
about.
controversial heritage leaves many wondering why the Knights would accept her. Perhaps because the songs of freedom woven into the Mondstadt winds first asked, why not?
Ready for reconnaissance.
Why not?
Naturally, Eula earned her captaincy with her superior capabilities, masterfully combining Favonius blade work with cryomagic. She forms frost at the tip of her blade, which she wields with the cadence of a dancer. Waltzing gracefully into battle, she then strikes like a crashing wave. Eula derives no additional status in Mondstadt from her once noble lineage, but finds herself the victim of a strict and outmoded education. She dismisses what she was taught as pointless pretension, yet is unable to escape its influence entirely, often subjecting herself to meticulous introspection. When Eula crafts talent level-up materials, she has a chance to double the output, boosting the party's adventure readiness. Eula's normal attack can combo up to 5 strikes that deal physical damage to enemies. Holding the attack steadily consumes stamina, while Eula unleashes a rapid string of slashes, also dealing physical damage. When her charged attack ends, she unleashes a powerful strike that launches smaller enemies within her range.
Oh, sweet.
Tap Eula's elemental skill Ice-Tide Vortex to perform a rapid slash that
Frozen.
deals cryo damage. When the slash hits an enemy, Eula gains 1 stack of Grimheart. The effect has a maximum of 2 stacks. Grimheart increases Eula's resistance to interruption in her defense, creating optimal conditions for her to dish out damage.
So it doesn't even need to block.
Ice-Tide Vortex causes Eula to consume all stacks of Grimheart.
Or dodge.
And perform a spinning frontal slash that deals AoE cryo damage.
Actually, pretty cool.
This attack consumes Grimheart stacks. It will decrease the physical and cryo resistance
Although I
of
had to shout it out.
enemies.
I love the fact when they're like,
Each
so you
stack of
might wonder
Grimheart
why the knights
consumed
accepted her.
will convert
And it
to
pans
an
from her
ice
feet
flow.
all the way up
Yeah.
her long legs. And I'm like,
Cryo damage
okay.
Because they thought she was super hot.
Yep. And she is.
Eula's elemental burst unleashes a mighty slash of her sword, dealing cryo damage to surrounding enemies and forming a lightfall sword that follows her around.
You said gumdrops, but it sounded like you said something different.
While the lightfall sword is present, Eula's resistance to interruption is increased further. Additionally, when enemies are damaged by Eula's normal attack, elemental skill, or elemental burst, the lightfall sword's energy is charged. When its duration ends, the lightfall sword will descend and explode violently, dealing physical
Nice.
damage to surrounding enemies. The damage
She got a lot of fun abilities.
increases with
Yeah.
the lightfall sword's charge stack.
Knocks people
When
back a
Eula
bunch.
leaves the field, the lightfall sword will instantly explode. After unlocking the talent Roiling Rhyme, when Eula holds Ice-Tide Vortex, if 2 stacks of Grimheart are consumed together, a shattered lightfall sword is created and explodes immediately, dealing half the base physical damage of the lightfall sword. Years of reconnaissance company campaigns have honed Eula's instinct
Wellspring
for
of
launching surprise
Warlust.
offensives. When she strikes, waves of frost and rays of light surge forth like ocean spray. After unlocking the talent Wellspring of Warlust, casting Eula's Elemental Burst immediately grants 1 stack of Grimheart and resets the cooldown of her elemental skill. The Spindrift Knight's battleground is the shadows far beyond Mondstadt's city walls. Eula's strength is in hunting down her enemy with courage.
Looks like she's about to kick that dude in the nuts.
Striking with her frosty Favonius blade blade. In combat, Eula
All the more
often
reason to like
starts
her.
the offensive with her normal attack, interspersing her strikes with the tapping effect of her elemental skill to keep up the pursuit and accrue Grimheart stacks. Next, holding her elemental skill at an opportune moment will deal damage to her enemy, while also reducing their physical and cryo resistance by consuming the Grimheart stacks.
She seems like she could be button smashed
When
for
Eula's energy is full, unleashing her elemental burst puts further pressure on the enemy and creates a lightfall sword. Now is the time for a rapid offensive. To charge the lightfall sword and finally take down the enemy when it explodes. There are those with hatred in their hearts that are able to do what Eula has done. Take the lust for vengeance bequeathed to them by fate and channel it into a force for self-advancement. For Eula, this has set her down a path of peace and inner strength.
Good.
Still, there are others for whom the passage of time does nothing to quell the poison spreading through their souls. Only the future will reveal the path they take, but inevitably, it will be a different one.
Yeah, I like her.
Yeah.
She's cool.
In Inazuma City, the Shirasagi Himegimi is a name
tree.
known to all. Those fortunate enough to meet Kamisato Ayaka in person describe her as the princess of the Kamisato clan. Graceful and dignified as a snow crane, but kind
She's
and
bashful.
gentle like a dove. She brings joy and hope to everyone she meets. The other half of perfection is, of course, martial prowess. So when Kamisato Ayaka draws her blade and assumes a fighting stance, her opponent should beware.
She's a little too peaceful for me.
Kamisato Ayaka, present.
A master of the Inazuman Kamisato art of
Ooh, but she's got a
Tachijutsu,
cool weapon.
Kamisato Ayaka has honed her blade work to the pinnacle of proficiency. She combines swift and agile strikes with the power of cryo to fight back against those of malicious intent. As the daughter of the Yashiro Commission's Kamisato clan, Ayaka is versed in a variety of art forms. Her expertise in the art of the sword includes knowledge of advanced weaponry. When Ayaka crafts weapon ascension materials, she has a certain chance to receive double the product. Ayaka's normal attack can combo up to 5 strikes that deal physical damage to enemies. Holding the attack button consumes a set amount of stamina to perform the EI technique, unleashing a series of blade
EIO
waves that
technique?
deal physical damage to enemies. When Ayaka sprints, she cloaks herself in frozen fog,
That's cool.
consuming stamina to move as
Yeah.
a rapid torrent.
She runs away
In her
pretty cool.
Senho state, Ayaka can travel swiftly over water.
That's fun.
When she leaves Senho state and reappears, she applies the cryo element to nearby
Alright.
enemies. Also,
That's cool
she will
ability.
receive a cryo infusion for a short duration. The cryo infusion converts Kamisato Ayaka's attack damage to cryo damage. After unlocking the talent Kanten Senmyo Blessing, if the cryo energy released when exiting Kamisato Art Senho comes into contact with an enemy, Ayaka will regain some stamina. Additionally, she will gain a temporary cryo damage bonus. Proficient use of these skills allows Kamisato Ayaka to move freely around the battlefield,
Never
putting
get
her
tired.
in the strongest possible position. A flick of the wrist with the poise of a dancer, and frost goes flying. Tapping Ayaka's elemental skill summons blooming ice, launching adjacent enemies and dealing AoE cryo damage. After unlocking the talent Amatsumi Kunitsumi Sanctification for a short
What?
duration
Say that again?
after casting
That was a mouthful.
Kyoka, Kamisato Ayaka's normal and charged attacks deal increased damage.
Kamisato art! Sumetsu!
Kamisato Ayaka summons the frost with flawless poise, releasing a Frostflake Seki no To that travels forward. The Frostflake Seki no To is a storm of whirling icy winds that slashes repeatedly at enemies, dealing cryo damage and blooming at the end of its duration, dealing a further bout of AoE cryo damage.
Hit him in the butt.
Even in the heat of battle, Kamisato Ayaka is the picture of elegance. Her own bladework philosophy adds finesse to Kamisato art's Tachijutsu. With the choreography of a crane in the snow, she defeats her foes in a dance of frost. When the battle begins, Ayaka enters her Senho state, then swiftly draws near to her enemies to launch her attack. The versatile range of cryo abilities at her disposal creates opportunities to coordinate with her teammates. She gains control over her enemies, then alternates between normal and charged attacks to take them down one by one. When energy is full, Kamisato Ayaka unleashes her elemental burst to deal further damage and clean up the field. When Inazuma locals discuss the Yashiro Commission, they are full of praise for Kamisato Ayaka's cordial manner and sincerity of speech at social gatherings. When the name Shirasagi Himegimi is uttered, it is done so in tribute to her flawless etiquette and impeccable character. But what can anyone know of how Ayaka views herself in her innermost being? As the princess of the Yashiro Commission's Kamisato clan, Ayaka shoulders her family's duty to cherish the aspirations of ordinary people. But she also has dreams of her own that she holds dear. Perhaps the thing that she really needs is a companion on her journey, with whom to share a pot of tea and to play a game of Go.
Aw.
And with whom to stand shoulder to shoulder when it comes time to draw her blade. No one is sure when they first noticed it, but once in a while, from the deck of the Alcor, flagship of the heavily armed Crux fleet, the soft sound of a flute can be heard. Following the ocean breeze to wherever it may lead, trace the sound back to its source, and you will see a young samurai of Inazuma calmly sitting in a crow's nest, playing a leaf flute while taking in the sights and sounds of the natural world. But ask the other sailors about his story, and you'll find they know little more than you. All they can tell you is he is a trainee sailor from Inazuma. His name is Kaedehara Kazuha.
Come driving rain or winds that churn, I shall return by blade alone, armed, if barefoot, to my home.
Many look at Kaedehara Kazuha and see but a young face. What they miss is a swift and deadly samurai wanderer who is not to be taken lightly. Kaedehara Kazuha has the ability to manipulate animo and provides an elemental damage bonus for members of his party. Also, with his elemental skill, he can make frequent use of special plunging attacks that keep enemies grouped together, providing great support to his party.
So he sets him up while others knock him down.
From the breeze, he is light as a feather and swift as a blade. When Kaedehara Kazuha is in your party, he reduces sprinting stamina consumption for your party members, making exploration faster. Kazuha's normal attack can combo up to 5 strikes that deal physical damage to enemies. Hold the attack button to consume a set amount of stamina. And perform 2 swift slashes to his front, dealing high physical damage. While Kazuha is airborne, pressing the attack button causes him to perform a plunging attack, damaging opponents along the path and dealing AoE damage upon impact. Tap his elemental skill, Chihayabaru, to unleash a secret blade technique, pulling enemies and objects toward him, launching enemies within his range, and dealing animo damage. Kazuha uses the gust of wind generated in this moment to soar up into the air. For a short period after using Chihayabaru, while Kazuha remains airborne, he can unleash a powerful plunging attack, Midare Ranzan. The damage dealt by this plunging attack is converted to animo damage. When Kazuha lands, he uses another secret blade technique to create a wind tunnel that pulls in nearby enemies and objects. With this effect, Kazuha can concentrate enemies in one place, allowing other party members to attack more efficiently. Chihayaburu is a skill that can be used while airborne, giving Kazuha great agility when out exploring. When Chihayaburu is held instead of tapped, Kazuha deals increased anemo damage over a wider area. After unlocking the talent Somon Swordsmanship, Kazuha's elemental skill can absorb Hydro, Pyro, Cryo, or Electro when cast. If a Midare Ranzan plunging attack is performed before Chihayaburu's effects expire, it deals additional elemental damage of the absorbed element. Only one elemental absorption can occur per Chihayaburu.
Clouds hide. The birds call.
Kaedehara Kazuha's elemental burst is the pinnacle achievement of his self-taught blade work. He strikes with the force of the first winds of autumn, dealing AoE anemo damage. This attack produces a field called Autumn Whirlwind. The field periodically deals anemo damage to enemies within it. If Autumn Whirlwind comes into contact
dealing
with
animal
Hydro,
damage?
Pyro,
That's what I thought I heard.
or Electro, it will absorb that element and deal additional elemental damage. This elemental absorption may only occur once in its duration. Kazuha can use the Autumn Whirlwind field to easily affect multiple enemies with an element, creating ideal opportunities for his allies to attack. The wind blows to all within its vast reach and knows the coming fall from the first withered leaf. For a set duration after Kazuha triggers a swirl reaction, all party members receive a damage bonus for the corresponding element. The bonus scales off of Kazuha's elemental mastery. If multiple elemental damage bonuses are gained in this manner, they are applied concurrently. Kaedehara Kazuha has roamed far and wide and is acutely sensitive to changes in the natural environment. When the way ahead is rocky, his mastery of anemo allows him to swiftly turn the tide of the battle, guiding the whole party to victory. In combat, he coordinates closely with his teammates to apply elements to enemies.
Who's like the sailor girl?
He uses his elemental skill to gain control over the opponents,
I don't
following
know.
up here and there
I don't
with powerful
think
plunging
so.
attacks to keep them where he wants them, while also activating Poetics of Foods,
Dropping anvils on people.
which provides elemental damage bonuses, enhancing the whole party's attack capabilities. When energy is full, Kaedehara Kazuha unleashes his elemental burst, generating an autumn whirlwind field. The field creates the perfect conditions for elemental reactions, turning your party into a force to be reckoned with. Kaedehara Kazuha is no aimless wanderer. He has a deep sense of purpose. The young samurai left his homeland behind not to part with the past, but in the search for a new hope. As he navigates his path, he charts a course through the myriad of storms that come his way. His exposure to the elements keeps him in touch with nature and connects him with other people who cross his path. Those who choose to defy the gods are destined for hardship, but even a maple leaf blowing in the breeze, if it falls into the right company, can learn to sail the storm winds of the sea to shores beyond the horizon.
He's got a cool glowing sword. I'll give him that much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, we know Eula's definitely your favorite.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah. Has she been your favorite character we've seen overall from all the different characters? Or, I mean, we've checked out a lot, so it's tough to, go back and say.
I was going to say there are a lot, and I know that I've had an affinity for one or two others in previous videos. But I mean, she might be my favorite overall. There was so much to enjoy about her, from her sort of like origin story as a prodigy for revenge, which I have more questions about. Like, I want her lore, I want her entire backstory. And then she's incredibly powerful and has a lot of cool skills and just badass moves. And she's in like the Knights, and I don't know, there's a lot to like about her. For Kaedehara, one thing that I just really picked up on was they talked about how, they were talking about him like returning to a village. And they say he would be well armed even if barefoot. And I was like, what a great sentence, because it tells me so much about this character in a single sentence that like he will forego personal well-being, because protecting your feet, especially if you're walking back to a village, kind of important. He'll forego that and personal comfort for the sake of being armed and prepared and ready to go for battle. And just instantly that gave me an insight into who this character was.
Now you say that, like I was gonna have Kaedehara as our, so we do our favorites, and we also do like who we think is like the strongest characters. I was gonna have Kaedehara third in this one, but now you say that might have to be second. I like Eula the best, and I think Eula's the strongest out of all of them.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And then between Kamisato and Kaedehara, she was my least favorite. So my favorites were Eula, Kaedehara, and Kamisato. Who were your favorites? So Eula was first. Eula's both of our favorites out of this batch.
I actually like Kamisato as my second, I think.
Okay.
I like the fact that she's hopeful and kind. I think the elements that kind of turned her off for you.
Mm-hmm. The kindness, just the like, sweetness.
As you said, she's too sweet. And I totally see that. I get that. Mm-hmm. She doesn't come across warrior-esque. She comes across as like your delicate wallflower, which usually, I mean, I'm even like, meh, whatever, okay. The girl who's the wallflower. But what I liked about this was they opened her up in that fashion in terms of like, she's super sweet, she's well-mannered, like all of these, she's hopeful and optimistic, and all of these kind of like qualities that can be both really good, but also kind of sappy if done too much and overkill. Yeah. Like, you don't want the personification of a Hallmark greeting card. I mean, that's just kind of like, well, okay. But what I liked is they did all that, and then they paired it with some really cool fighting. And she also has the cryo ability, which Eula has.
Yeah.
They kind of positioned her in a way that to me said, I'm super sweet and caring and lovable and loving until you push me. And then I will cut you. Like, you have gone too far. But I'm going to say, like, thank you for your sacrifice afterwards. Like that's kind of like how she came across to me. And I was like, I kind of like that.
Yeah, a lot of those like gameplay for me. Like Eula, I thought looked fun because, depending on if you do the ability right, like you can just basically like, kind of like spam or attack and like not get hit as you're doing it. And then also that one little one where it's like it blew up and then knock people back.
The sword that can like you leave it and it blows up.
So that was cool. And then for Kaedehara, I liked his like jumping up and then slamming down. And then also the autumn, whatever circle of death that he had. That was a cool ability. Kamisato, at first I didn't like any of her abilities, but then like once you could like travel and then pop up and then freeze people like that, I thought that was pretty sweet. But yeah, that's why she was my least favorite. And I guess it'll also go for strength. I'll do Eula. I'll put Kamisato second, and I'll put Kaedehara.
Okay.
What do you think about? What about your strengths? Who do you think's the strongest and the weakest?
I think that's the right order.
That's the right order?
Yeah.
Okay. Let us know down below in the comments, if you got that right, if you got that wrong, who your favorites are. If you main any of these characters, let us know down below in the comments. And if you want early ad-free access to our Genshin Impact reactions and our other reactions on Definitely Not Definitive Games, we got a link to our Patreon down below in the description of this video, as well as a link for a playlist for all of our Genshin Impact reactions here on Definitely Not Definitive Games. Thanks so much for checking out our reaction for Genshin Impact character Miscellany, but just keep in mind
that our reaction is definitely not definitive.